On today's podcast episode, we're going to wrestle through a question that kind of comes actually out of our Elijah series. And so this idea of loneliness, you touched on it a little bit, I touched on it a little bit, but really I want to dive deeper with this time we have together into this, what do I do when I feel alone? And it comes out of this context. Elijah runs into the cave, or he runs into the desert first.
Yep.
And he says, I'm alone, no one's with me, I just want to die. God feeds him, God says go to sleep. He sleeps and takes a nap for a little bit. He wakes up, he runs into Mount Horeb, also known as Mount Sinai, and he finds a cave, he falls asleep, God feeds him, God meets him there, and he just says, I'm alone. There's no one with me. And God just reminds him of his purpose, God reminds him of his plan, and God reminds him, and beyond the purpose and the plan, Elijah, I have 7,000 worshipers in me who have not yet bowed to Baal. And it was just a reminder of, you don't see the big picture, but God never said, you're an idiot to feel this way.
Yeah.
God says it's like, God recognizes his loneliness. He recognizes his pain, but calls him out of it. So I think it's something that we wrestle through as humans. I mean, it's something in the beginning, God made Adam, and he said it's not good for the man to be alone, right? So what do we do when we feel alone?
Well, I think we have to question why and where are we feeling alone at, right?
Oh, that's a good point.
Am I feeling it's just different answers, I think, both ways. If I'm feeling alone because I'm literally sitting in my house by myself with no one around me, that's one kind of aloneness, okay? Or if I'm feeling alone while I'm sitting in a church auditorium surrounded by 150 people and not talking to anybody, that's a different kind of alone, right? There's two kinds there with it. One, you visibly are alone. The other one, you emotionally might be alone. Those two different things, right? So
is it fair to say then loneliness could fall into mostly two categories: external reasons and internal reasons?
I think so. I think you have good point, external loneliness and internal loneliness, and neither one are easier than the other to deal with, but they're different.
Because they need different things.
And I think it's possible you can have both. So you can kind of be in the middle of both of them. And if you're externally alone, or you're physically alone, visibly alone by yourself over here, maybe it's because maybe you fell into the trap of, or someone fell into the trap of, our cultural, I can love Jesus, but I don't like the church, and so I'm just not going to be a part of a church. I'm going to stick to myself, and I'll love Jesus, but I won't go around people because the church hurt me once before, and whatever it is, right? If you're doing that, then I think that you're actually putting a wall between yourself and the thing that could bring you health and help you out. And so it's maybe recognizing that all I need to do is open the door of the wall I built and go through it to be with people, right?
Yeah.
We were never meant to be alone. We've got to be with people and do that. This is actually why, like for my house, and you know it's about my house, there's people there all the time. We have, every weekend there's people at my house. A lot of college students are there. My OIC house, my family group is there. People come in and out all the time. And part of that is because I recognize on days when I spend the whole day alone, there's days where I'll be at church. You're at church too, but you're in your office. I'm in my office, and no one's in here with me. I'm all by myself. I'm working, and then at the end of the day comes. I close the door and I go home. My wife gets home, and we can tell on those days I'm just grumpy because I've been too alone all day long.
So is it fair? Because you're introvert. Even as an introvert, it's not good to be alone.
No, you got to have people. We were made for a relationship, even as introverts.
I think sometimes, because I'm more introverted than people think I am, but not as introverted as you. Is it fair to say that I think sometimes introverts buy into the lie that being introverted means I should be alone more?
Yeah, I mean that the mistake of thinking, as an introvert, and I can be an extreme introvert at times, but as an introvert, all I need is a quiet room, a good book, and no one around me. Right? That's not true at all. That's actually a recipe for slipping into my own thoughts, which eventually will slide me toward negative thoughts, feelings, depression, whatever it is, right? We have to have people around us to varying degrees and do that. So maybe if you physically are alone, the solution might be go find people to be with. Just be there with them.
And that might be hard because you're talking about proximity in this moment, right? I have to physically show up. Being online with someone's not the same, right? Showing up in a chat is not the same. You need to have physical interactions. You were built for physical interactions with people. God wired you for that. God didn't wire us for isolation and loneliness. but to put us in with physical contact with people, so we're in proximity. But I think I also have to have a war. It has to be waged in my mind that I have to choose to fight. Like you said, building walls. I think sometimes the biggest wall we build is the lie of the perception other people have towards me. I've run into people that like, I don't want to go to that because they'll think this about me. I don't want to go to that because they'll think this of me, or they'll think of like this, or they act like this. Like, and then I'll ask them, well, have you actually talked? Do they actually treat you that? No, but I think they will. Like, I have made a falsehood in my mind about that person, not even giving that person a chance to be in my proximity.
Yeah. When I think the truth is, there are people out there that, and I strive for this in my life, imperfectly probably, but people out there that want to be known as ones that help people who view themselves as outsiders become insiders, outcasts become belongers, and I'll go out of my way, bend over backwards to try to love and include somebody that physically appears to be excluded, right? So we want that to be. There are people out there like that want to love you if you feel that way about yourself. Now, we have online worship times, live stream times, and we do that while also saying it's good to be with people, right? Because we know there's times we're traveling, there's times where we're maybe someone's checking the church out for the first time, and it's easier to do that, a little safer. Or maybe we live far away. We have some friends that actually worship with us all the time that live hundreds of miles away. And even at that, if you're doing that, that's great, but you still need people where you are. You've got to still be engaged with people where you're at with things.
Because you have to have people. And you need relationships, you need friendships, you need someone that you can sit across a coffee table with and have a cup of coffee, or if you're not a coffee person, a hot cocoa or tea or whatever, and share life with. And it's hard to do over a screen.
The other side of this is somebody that might sit in a crowded room. Maybe this is you or someone you know. Sit in a crowded room, a crowded living room, or a church auditorium, or a Walmart, where sit there and just think that no one here likes me. No one wants to hear from me. That can be hard to overcome too. And that's not as easy as just showing up somewhere, because you already showed up. In that moment, we have to take a risk. And we have to maybe just ask one person, hey, can I just kind of hang with you, right? I know this is actually true of me too. If I'm going somewhere that's uncomfortable or unknown, and I'm nervous about what I have to do there, or I have to interact in a way I'm not sure I know how to do it, or when I go speak somewhere, a new church, a new place, a new crowd, whatever it is, I walk in and I get nervous, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And so what I do is I just find somebody that I can buddy up with. And so, like, if you're with me somewhere, there'll be times I'll just kind of stick beside you, right? And we'll just do it together. Because if I'm with one person, all of a sudden I take risks I would never take on my own. And I need that. My wife and I would go places, and I'll just buddy up with her, right? And we'll do this whole thing where we take risks that we wouldn't take on our own. And so, if you're feeling that way in a crowded room, I think that the solution might be just to find one person you trust and just say, hey, can I sit by you? And just kind of be in the conversation a little bit. And
I think it's interesting because talking about external loneliness versus internal, and I could be wrong on this, but just from my own seeing of life and being around people, it seems like those who are bent to be introverted have a tendency to be the most externally lonely, because they're so used to building a life of loneliness that they don't know how to invite other people into it. And it seems like a lot of my friends who seem to have all these friends, who seem to have all these things internally, are the loneliest people, are extroverts. Because they're really good at putting on a mask, because they think people assume that they need to be the life of the party, and they don't actually get vulnerable to say, I'm so stinking alone.
And so they end up having a lot of acquaintances, but not a lot of friends. And in that moment, we have to choose to be vulnerable and open with things. And it's so much easier to find a person to walk with and be vulnerable with them.
So what I hear you saying from both of these is, one, as we will say with everything, you need Jesus at the beginning and the middle of all these things. But secondly, you need his people. Whether you are facing loneliness externally, facing loneliness internally, you need people. And I'm going to go a step further. You need to be with people that you're willing to be vulnerable and real with, to be honest with, to be genuine with, to say, hey, this is how I'm feeling.
Yeah, because there was in Elijah's life, we were talking about this at our church for a while, and there's more to it than this right here, obviously. But Elijah, I'm the only one left, and God says, no, there's 7,000 others like this, and then God says, go find Elisha. go find him, right? And the solution was to go find this other guy.
And it's interesting, even with that though, Elisha forgot that he had a servant who he already said go home, who also loved the Lord. He had Obadiah who was on the mountain with him, the king's servant, Ahab's servant, who also loved the Lord. Like, he is already, even if you were just to take those three, he's not alone. There's three of them, which is better than one of them. But in his moment of depression, in his moment of isolation and loneliness, there's no one. And Satan's really good at finding that trigger in all of us, because I think we all have that trigger, and Satan is a master at finding that loneliness trigger and pulling it to make you feel alone, which is why you have to do the work to show up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if you're struggling with that, if you're struggling with relationships, if you're struggling with isolation and loneliness, and just learning how do I fit in, whether externally or internally, how do I invite people into my life, reach out to us. Talk to us. We'd love to help you take next steps. I'm going to be honest with you. The best thing around our church family, if you're local, and especially if you're in person, you need to join an oikos. Oikos is a Greek word that means extended family. We have many of those who meet on the second and fourth Sundays of the month. It's a smaller community than our larger gatherings, and it's a place to be known. It's a place that you can find those genuine connections, to be real people, say, hey, I need you now.
Yeah. Good word.
Church, until we see each other again, you are sent. Have a great day.